Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome, everyone, to tonight's town hall meeting. I don't believe it's going to be long. It doesn't look like there's a lot of questions in the audience. But first, I'm going to make a statement. At 4 o'clock this afternoon, I spoke with Janelle Higgins, who is the supervisor of Seaside Post Office. She assured me in no uncertain terms that the transition on the 1st is going to be seamless and mail will go out that day to the post office boxes. I can't tell you any more than that because I wasn't given any more than that. It was about rather quick statement and a goodbye. All right, so there's no interruption of services. I want to mention that Chris Mastrandrea and Jesse Steiger of the Klosh Group are the two individuals who will be working with us as owners' representatives. And I pushed them to have a presentation today, and they said they felt very uncomfortable being rushed by me and that they would do it in their own time next month. And so I had to say, you are in charge of your own business. So hopefully next month we'll all meet the Klosh Group in Mass. All right. Now, was there anything anyone wanted to add?
Just to add on to the post office thing, some of the questions that have come in, are we still working on the zip code? Yes, we're still working on the zip code. Is home delivery now an issue? Well, since they raised it, I say, yes, we still, push for home delivery. In the past month, I bought an RV. I had to give extra paperwork to prove where my address was because I'm not in the US postal system. And then when I ordered a new bar for my screen door, they canceled it because they didn't want to deliver to a post office box. So I had to have it redelivered to or rerouted to my aunt's house in Seaside. And then I went to Verizon to get a service at my house, and they couldn't recognize my house either because I'm not in the US post office. So I think that's something we should still continue to push on. As far as whether our current employees will continue to be our employees, we have no say in that. I hope so. But I can tell you, as of a couple hours ago, Karen, she has heard something, but she's not really ready to confirm anything. And I don't know if she even knows. So that is still up in the air. We don't know. But I do think that we should continue to push for our zip code and for home delivery. And that might even include in the future that we start some kind of a roster or something that everybody can sign, maybe a group letter from the community of Gearhart. Now that we have name recognition, now is a good time to push for stuff like this. They know who we are. Our elected representatives know what a pain in the butt we are when we don't get our way. So now is a good time to continue to push on that kind of stuff. I will tell you though, ballots are coming out on Wednesday. They've already had a problem with the voters pamphlets. Half of us got our voters pamphlet on one day, half of us got them the next day. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you that I'm going to take my ballot and I'm going to turn it in person or at the drop box out here. I'm probably not going to use the US mail, and you are free to do whatever you feel is best. So.
All right. Does the fire department or the police have anything they want to add to this little mix?
Not really, no, sir.
Okay,
Open for questions, so.
open for questions.
Yes, sir. That's it.
All right, well, there you are in the very back, correct?
Yeah, this home delivery thing, how would that affect the post office spot situation? You would just have the ability to get both?
I have no idea, Craig. This is just way beyond, I am not a postal man and I will never be. So this is something we'll have to take up with the new contractor and possibly with Janelle Higgins, if she's still around in a while. It seems like they change very often at the post office. Yes.
I just
Candace.
wanted to thank the fire people for securing that grant to grant us additional fire people for during the summer.
The intern grant?
Yeah, the third year in a row, we've gotten that same grant. So it allows us to up staff during the busy months, June first, October 31st. We're able to
That's
put on
great.
extra staffing. But yeah, we're excited.
Is there anyone on Zoom that wants to raise their hand and ask a question? Eric?
So can you just tell us a little bit about what the Klosh group will actually do, or what you ask them to do, or what their assignment is, or what we should be expecting from them, those kinds of things?
I could if I brought the RFP and then I could read it to you, but basically what it is they're going to formulate a plan of how to inform the public. They are going to put forth proposals with, I believe, costs associated with them. So you can make an informed decision on if it's built here, it's got to be done this way and it has to cost this. It will probably cost this much. There's nothing set in stone as far as the design is concerned. They are just going to take us and walk us like children through the process. They have done this before with other cities. I believe they've done the city of Manzanita, 2 projects down there, and this is what we want. We want someone to show us how to do this, how to communicate, and how to show the public we are being as transparent as we can possibly be. Because as we all know, this building is horrendous and it should be replaced, but I'm leaving that up to them. They're going to show us how they do it and what we're going to do.
Do you have a time frame with their contract?
15 months is what they said. Sometime in 2025 is when they should be able to bring us to a final decision. Sir,
Does this change the funding mechanism somehow? I'm lost here again. Where, we kind of had an idea of putting it up in the far reaches of the northern corner, and that got shot down.
yes,
I don't know if there was ever anything done about what part of, was it funding that shot it down? Was it where it was that shot it down? Shouldn't, or is this what you're expecting from this contractor?
yes, it is. They're going to come up with everything that we need to do this project, including the funding and different ways to fund it. And different locations, but as far as I know, the only location the city owns outright is this position here and the park. And I don't believe anyone wants it up. Many people don't want it at the park. There are some people that believe that's the place to go, but this is all going to be driven by public input.
To be fair to the situation, when we went through this the last time, there's a lot of the earmarks have changed. The earmark in the state said, hey, you couldn't build anything in the flood zone, gone. So we could build it right here, no problem.
That's
Anywhere for that matter.
Right.
I don't think the general public knows that yet, but hopefully through this process, we'll find that out. Another thing that, again, the general public doesn't know, I don't know if we have people out chasing grant money like we have.
We can't chase any grant money until we have a plan and we have something committed to.
Yeah,
And
that
that's,
makes sense, that makes sense.
it's like our Highway 101 project. We couldn't get anything done on 101 until we had a transportation plan, a TSP. And now we've got it and we missed out because 3 other projects needed more money, but we're in the loop now. So we should get something eventually from ODOT.
saw where Seaside got a multi-million-dollar grant to upgrade their facility seismically. I mean, these are things that we should be capitalizing into.
I can speak on that if you would like me to, Mayor.
Please.
So, they did get a seismic grant and we looked at getting that for this building here, Seaside, I think they got about $1 million. The reason why we stopped looking into that for here is because it would only retrofit the facility to withstand an earthquake. And then in doing so, you have to use the building as is, as its current occupancy, so like we would have to use this as a fire station for 10 years. We couldn't tear it down, couldn't build a new one, anything, so we're like, well, we don't know what's going on or what will or won't happen, so we can't commit to that. Because then we're locked in for 10 years to this shell, and they're essentially putting up walls within walls, and they're gonna dig down, put huge pilings down into here to lock stuff in. And it was a lot of logistical stuff to then us to have to be just like this for 10 years, so we're like, we can't do it.
I
But
was
Steve,
speaking more of when this plan gets in place, it is possible to get funding mechanisms outside the ordinary process of a bond measure.
After we get buy-in from the public, we've been told, we have to have a yes vote, have everything set in stone, then we can offset some cost, is what we've been told.
And the Seaside one, I was told by the chief of the fire department there, was a multi-million-dollar.
Yeah, because they went in with Seaside Dispatch, so two separate facilities. And so then they're doing the same, they're retrofitting, and then now that they're doing it, then they're adding on, they're kind of adding more of a second floor on the fire station stuff. But they're using that building as it is for the next, they don't see going anywhere. And they don't have the restrictions that we do for space and different things. So they're essentially putting a better foundation so they can go up, is what Seaside Fire should do.
Well, he also told me something I think is interesting, at least was from my perspective, that the insurance that we all have on our homes is, the price of it is dictated by how far fire.
Yes, sir.
departments are apart.
And that's the ISO rating I spoke a lot about last time we went for this.
Yeah, so when you talk about consolidating, why don't we move it up to put the Warrenton one in it doesn't work like that.
Correct,
It can't work like that.
correct. Correct.
And speaking of the fire and consolidating, I met with the mayor of Seaside, Steve Wright, and I also met with Spencer Kyle, who's the city manager of Seaside, and neither one of them was interested in combining forces with Gearhart and taking over Gearhart. Spencer told me that it would be a new fire station, would have to be paid for by Gearhart. Gearhart would have to fund a 10-man team to be on the equipment 7 days a week. And Gearhart, what was the third thing? Would be charged a maintenance fee, an administration fee.
Well, what's funny about that, in talking with him, and I had the same discussion that we're having now, I said, well, we back up each other now. So whenever a fire call goes out for Gearhart, Seaside shows up, or vice versa. So really, you're in a we, the city of Gearhart, is in a partnership, whether we like it or not, with Seaside now. It's too bad we can't, put that formula to work for both our interests, before we, let it dictate what we do here, so it matches up with what they've got. So we're not, really creating two separate entities, because we're really not two separate entities, because when that bell goes off, they get the same bell. And
Right.
vice versa.
That's why I've said many times, operationally, the county works as one fire department. But because of ISO ratings, because of the equipment we have, the personnel we have, the training we have, what we have available, changes those ISO ratings, and each one's a different thing. And if the whole county were to merge, we could end up as an ISO 5. Right now, in here, Gearhart, our fire district is an ISO 3. Last July, Seaside just went to a 2, the lower the number, the better. When Napa merged, Napa's now 7 different fire districts. They're Napa, Stinson, John Day, Burn Hill, Clifton, Brown, all of those.
So if they're doing that and getting some advantage to it, why isn't that an option for us to look at?
We'd have to put in more stations because we have a lot more square miles we cover countywide. we'd have to bring in the staffing to then keep that protection, that coverage, and we'd have to have a lot more stuff that's not in play right now. Cause, Napa, when they merged, as I'll get into, they went from an ISO 8 to a 4. Which saved their homeowner, one homeowner came and thanked them, said my homeowner's insurance just went down $450. But they're a 4, so I mean, that could take our 3 and just us and Napa merging, we may be a 3.5 or a 4 now there. Only Wadusky, they're, yeah, so it would be an average and even out. After us talking with ISO ratings and stuff, we're in an ISO review right now, and so we're trying our hardest to keep our 3 that we have for the public. Because of things going on, there's a chance we could go to a 2, just us. But when we start merging and talking about us, we absorb everybody else's problems and everything other
But
issues
if
they have.
Hampton has one and Seaside has one, and we currently are configured in such a fashion that we meet the obligation the insurance company wants, well, why would it make sense to work together?
Because when we absorb, that becomes one district instead of separate ones. And like you said, how a fire station have to be a certain amount of miles away from each other. There's way too much square miles in our county that's unprotected.
All right, is there another question?
Was a hand online.
A hand online,
Deb P had a hand up, but it's gone now.
okay? Are you sure, Deb? All right, Penny,
This is about the post office, can we go back?
you can go anywhere you want, this is open.
Is it true that if we get our own zip code here, they cannot take our post office away from us? We'll not have this threat again. No, that's a rumor.
I can't answer that, I am not a postal man, I've got nothing. I mean, I called Janelle up and I was lucky to get what I got. I am sorry, I have no idea.
Oh, that's all right.
You know, they want their secrets.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll ask, and if I can get that information, I will, because we do continue, we
Yeah.
intend to continue with this discussion with them about the zip code and stuff. We'll certainly ask that. I can't guarantee you any answers.
Yeah.
The
that's
post
all right.
office, I mean, I hate to speak badly about another agency, but this whole thing, this whole dealing with them has been absolutely mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing to me. How, I mean, they still have not put anything out to you all. You're hearing information through
Yeah.
us, and I put out information on social media that I heard from Representative Jabati, who's a state representative and has absolutely no, they are not, in my opinion, they're not meeting any of their obligations, to their customers, who are you. So I can't tell you anything, but I will ask on your behalf, but I can't guarantee you I'm gonna get better answers than you can. You all are the reason that we have a contract here. It was the pressure that this whole community put on them. I had people saying, I don't even know what to write them, but I just wrote them saying, please don't close our post office. I said, that's perfect. That's all you need to do. You have just, in this regard, you have just as much leverage as we do, because they could not care less that we were city councilors or the mayor or anybody else.
If you ask Karen, she says the same thing. She's got 2 days left to work. She doesn't know if she's got a job. 2
Correct.
days later.
They have not even told her that they're gonna go down, and you would think that they would do an inventory when the business is transferring from one to another. They have not even notified her about any of that. So to me, it's mind blowing, and that's all I can say is that we will ask. I can't give you answers, and I can't even promise you that when I give you an answer, I'll give you the best answer I can, and I'll try not to tell you bad info, but this has been really eye-opening. Really eye-opening.
Is Kim Morgan mentioned
Mhm.
as the contract ED? Is
Right.
that the same Kim?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
all I know, she may not be from Deerheart. I don't know where she's from. All I have heard through, again, the, backhand sources is that she runs a postal type service somewhere. And Karen did tell me when she called and she spoke with Karen, she had the right questions. She had the right suggestions. Karen feels pretty good about her. That's all I know.
That's good.
And I'm not even sure Karen should have told me that. But while we're speaking of Karen, one thing I did mean, and I know you guys feel the same way, I think that this community really, really, really owes a debt to our postal workers, to Karen and Kim. I mean, we need to give them, I don't know if they're online. I asked Karen to be here in person and she started crying, said she doesn't like that kind of a thing. And I said, well, I do. So I think we need to give her a round of applause for everything. she- And Ralph, I don't know Ralph, the previous gentleman that owned the contract, and I bear him no ill will for having a medical issue that he felt he needed to step down pretty quickly. There is, I've seen on social media, there's a GoFundMe for him for his medical problems, and I wish him all the best also. And I, you know, on behalf of Gearhart, and at least on my behalf, I thank him. If he's listening, thank you, Ralph. So.
Thank you.
Gary,
Yes, sir.
I assume that when you finish with your consultants and everything, they will give us some idea of what what the cost of all this is going to be, what they recommend as far as the building we should be, that's up to date, that's up to code, that's up to everything. What, will they give us an idea of what the cost to each one of us is going to be as far as any bond issues or something?
I am sure they will have that broken down so everyone can see exactly what it, and I honestly believe they're going to, from talking to them, they're going to have different proposals for different kinds, different places. And they're going to tell you, well, it's going to cost this much here for these reasons. And it's going to cost this much here for these other reasons. And this is what it breaks down at the time, because everyone knows the bond changes daily.
Mhm.
So they can do whatever they can, but it's not going to be, well, you said it was only going to be this, and now it's $1 million more. We can't control these things.
So there will be a different proposal. So suppose that we all go for a state-of-the-art facility that has all the bells and whistles that we need for a women's bathroom and everything that we need. Do you have any kind of ballpark figure what that would be, or would there be there were going to be 3 levels of
Finish.
3 levels of proposals that they're going to get?
I don't know if there's going to be 3 levels of proposals, Jake. What I know is you're going to get multiple choices so the people can decide on what is their value in what they're getting. And that's who's going to choose it. It's not going to be the council.
And do you know what the locations are now?
No. I told you we own the park and we own here. The park, it's written in the deed to it that we can't build anything on there. That's why there's never been a gazebo or a pergola or whatever. So there are a lot of things they're going to go through, and they're going to come up with their ideas with public input.
And what did you say again? When can we expect that proposal or those proposals?
Our contract is for, I believe, 15 months.
15 months. And that's
Right. It's going to go through to almost November of 2025. So we probably will have something decided on a couple of months before that, since we have to file in, I believe it's August for a November election.
And we'll have access to those, or will that be?
You will have access to the proposals as they come up.
Will
Yeah.
we be having town hall meetings to disseminate that information?
Yes, we will. That's part of their contract,
Awesome.
because this is all I got right here. You know, I'm turning it over to them for a reason, because they're outside the city council.
Bullets. I have one more question to the fire chief. If I'm understanding you correctly, in consolidating fire stations along this corridor area, it would entail multiple new fire departments. It would entail multiple more fire stations and full-time staffing at those stations, which would be exponentially expensive.
Correct, and as the mayor explained, even just for us to merge with Seaside, Seaside's kind of requirements as says, we still have to have a new station. They're not gonna make Seaside residents pay for the station for Gearhart. We'd have to have permanent staffing, because if they're gonna absorb us, take us on, they can't be having their people lead over to here, so we have to be able to fully staff our own. So that would take us to then, and we've looked into the costs before for what they call 24, 48 shifts, so one group of firefighters on for 24 hours. And a group off for 48, so it's 3 people, which just gives you enough people for 1 apparatus. When we get a call, a fire, we typically send 3, 4 apparatus in the station, so we'd still be volunteer, but we'd have to have 10 people, because working that shift says 3 people. That gives you 9 people, and you have to have 1 person for sick time, vacations, holidays, just for payroll for those 10 people alone is $1.5 million. Just for that. My whole budget is less than that right now. And then we still have to build a new station, and then we still have to have operational costs, and then we still have to be paying Seaside a fee for that. To work through from there, and then let's say we were going to merge with other departments, there'd have to be all that in place with everybody else. When we talk with SDAO and other people that do this stuff, SDAO, Special Districts Association of Oregon, for us in Seaside to merge, when you talk about us in Seaside Fire, that's 4 separate fire districts. Seaside has a fire district that's outside their city limits. Seaside city limits, there's Gearhart city limits, and we have a fire district outside of ours. All 4 of those geographical regions have to vote out of what they're currently in. All 4 have to vote into the new one. And when you vote into the new one, you're voting into a new tax rate for that new one. And all 8 of those ballot measures have to pass, or the entire thing doesn't happen. That's just for that. And what we are here, so all of Gearhart is 1.0053 cents per thousand, am I correct, tax lady? My portion of that,
Master of money.
master of money, I'm sorry, that's
Get it.
Tax lady?
tax.
Get it.
I knew she knew how much we get. God. Our portion of that dollar is about 27 cents. Most fire districts are between $2 and $5 per thousand for the fire district alone. Garibaldi and Bay City, we're looking at murder. Cause they were crying about, they each have 337 calls a year, we have 800 calls a year. They were gonna merge for $1.50 per thousand just for the fire district. That's more than what you citizens are paying just in Gearhart.
We did a bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
That doesn't count everything else on top of it, and if we were to merge, there has to be extra staffing and stuff. As we told you, we would like it, cause we'd get a pay raise, cause the Seaside fans get away we're making now. There's a lot more logistical stuff, and then you have one department, and then it's different stations, it's like you're coming into a model like what Portland Fire, Seattle Fire. They have, I don't know how many stations, 10, 15 stations for Portland Fire. 13, and so, and then you are the 2 miles apart for everything, because then that one fire district is the same ISO rating. So their stations are sometimes 2-3 blocks away because of density, because of commercial structure, and they're fully staffed, so they may have 3 engine companies on shift, so that's 90 people at one time there, and so there's just a lot of extra stuff.
Then you start getting in GGs. You
Yeah.
have to have all of that infrastructure in place to even consider merging. It makes no sense to take on the additional expense. You just give you guys your new fire station that you very much deserve.
I'm on board with that.
And please do that. And let's keep it as it is.
Yeah, we just,
Public safety though.
4 new volunteers, so
We got-
we'll be at 35.
4 applicants, yeah.
I just finished our academy yesterday at a live fire, so we have 6 now soon to be entry firefighters coming out of that.
Awesome.
So, yeah. You guys have but like I said, we had a phenomenal volunteer opportunity here. Just need a little more space.
Let's try and give it to me. Here.
Yeah, this is great. I love it here. Yeah.
Yes, Jay.
We've lived here long enough to remember the water bond issue in times past. And what I'm concerned about is that we have a bond issue here that we have, and they say, we didn't think about that. we better have another bond issue, so we had another bond issue for the water department. And we don't wanna go through all that stuff again, if we can avoid that, that's my only concern right now.
Right. Two ways that we avoid that in my past experience with building is number one, we pre-plan as well as possible. And that's another good reason to bring these folks on, these experts. You know, they have, this is their expertise. They're going to be able to tell us, hey, look at this law. There's something going on right now at the state level that could change your costs. Or they're going to be able to tell us, hey, there are new changes going out in grants, and these are sort of some of the grants that you can look at. That is their job, and that is their bread and butter. It's in their best interest to make us happy. So they're going to be working very hard to make us happy. What they're initially going to do is they're going to probably set up a team. They're going to decide who their team is, who are the people that are going to be the players who are going to give them the input. And then they're going to start looking into this in a way that we don't know how to look into this. They're going to start looking into the site. They're going to evaluate the site, whether, you know, how much square footage can we put in here? What are the, when you build something like this, the walls don't really cost that much. What ends up costing you a lot are the permits, the mechanicals, the engineering, things like that. Some of it can get costly. Some of it can be really throwing up a wall here or there that's not going to cost all that much. But really what we need to do, what they're going to help us do is decide or evaluate the land that we have to work with, where we have to work with, what would be the best site, what size can we build there? And I mean, I think we would all agree that we don't want to, at the end of this, have built something that's too small for our needs, right? We want it to last the length of the bond at least. And if at some point they start to see a problem, okay, for the amount of money to build there with the engineering that's going to be required in a tsunami zone, you're going to be able to get this size building. If you were to build over here, you could probably get that size of a building. And then at that point, we will all as a group make a decision. Do we spend more money? Do we, you know, whatever? And I can't even predict for you all of the things that are going to come up, but they're going to be things that are going to come up, things that we aren't even imagining right now. But that is what they are going to, that's what they do. That's what they're going to take us down that road, and they're going to communicate with us in turn. As Carrie said, we're going to communicate with you. So a lot of the questions that you have to ask on that, those are all good questions, and those are all things that will come up, but we're in early days now. We're just learning how to crawl. We're not ready to walk or run yet.
And that's why when the proposal was put forth for the last vote, there was a $2 million contingency, just in case something came up with that. And the thing with the water treatment plant, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, the state changed regulation. It wasn't because Gearhart didn't unforesee something. The state says, well, you gotta do this now, because the building's not in use yet, we're gonna change stuff and you gotta add more to it. So it wasn't because Gearhart failed to do something.
So in other words, when you get this consultants, then they will take that into account.
They're able to know extra stuff.
Suppose the inflation rate is 8% instead of, what is it now, 3 or 4%?
And if it's 8%, we're just going to have to eat that. We're going to have to eat that. There's nothing you can do about the inflation rate.
Yeah.
At least nothing we can do as a city or you can do as citizens. You know, in 2005, it was $5 million to build a new fire station, police station, and city hall. And it was defeated. $5 million for a whole block long building.
Municipal building, everything.
Yeah. And this is what we get. We're now looking at a lot more money.
Yeah.
So
because of their poor planning.
that's what you get.
Deb did have her hand up. Did you want to put your hand back up, Deb?
Thanks, Dana. Thanks, Dana. I appreciate it. You covered very well. I'm very excited about the Klaus Group, and they were hired and will be going through all of the weeds, so you guys don't have to. And I'm so excited about having them do their first presentation next month or whatever. But thank you for getting into some detail with their expertise and all. Also, I noticed today that the city of Newport is having a drill, an emergency drill down there, 1st of May or something, for emergency evacuations. Has the city of Gerhart ever done that? You know, chosen a day and maybe a time where people would have to run through? I mean, this comes as the gal from the liquor store said that she tested her evacuation route last week, and the last hill was really steep to climb. I thought, what hill? You know, I mean, so there might be a few of us that are a little bit out of the loop. I know somebody says just go to the water tank or whatever it is, but you know, if the river's flooded and I can't get over, you know, what's plan B? Has the council considered running the city through something like this before?
Well, every year, we have the Great Oregon Shakeout, which is in October. And we have ham radio operators who go to the assembly areas. And we ask everybody to go to their closest assembly area. And if possible, to take like their pack, their go bag or whatever with them. So they can time it and make sure that they can get there. I am closest to the North Summit Assembly area. And I will tell you the 3 times I've done this so far, as one of the CERT members, maybe 3 people showed up.
Yeah. But we're still trying to push that survey and, you know, what household has what and what needs help and so forth.
The other thing is the Emergency Operations Center at Camp Rylea is doing a large emergency practice.
May 9th, I think. If we can, we've been invited to go, so if we're able to, we're going to go participate. It's a huge scenario.
Right, you volunteers to be patients.
Yeah.
Injured.
Yeah, you want to be an injured person.
Victims, that's.
Who is we for Camp Rylea, the fire department?
Correct. So Camp Washington Air National Guards, who's sponsoring the event, they've invited all the fire departments in the county to show up and police and other people. I've told them tentatively, depending on what's going on that day, maybe not until the moment of if we can go.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I just spoke with the county emergency manager, that helped with the CERT team a little bit. So I stopped him today and he brought some lovely packets, which I'm sure they will disseminate and discuss about some of the upcoming things. It sounds like the county is kind of having to rebuild some stuff. So there's gonna be, he's put out a lot of new trainings for emergency managers in the area, which will be us and the city. So we can definitely put in a request. He's super awesome. His name's Mike Nealon. He's awesome. He's great. And he talked a little bit about CERT team. So if you haven't heard about the community CERT team, Gerhart has a CERT team. It's awesome. And they have a survey that they've been put out that they're kind of trying to see if anyone has special needs in the area for an emergency. So basically, if we were to have a massive earthquake, the CERT team would, or emergency responders would know that you can't get out of your house because you use a walker or you use home oxygen, things like that. Or if you want to be a part of the CERT team, help your community members. I'm not the greatest one to ask, but I know there's a few people in this room that would love to speak on it. I prepped you for that.
The trouble with the survey, correct me if I'm wrong, Sharon, there were only like 50 households that.
I think we got 60 something.
Yeah, okay, 60 out of 1,500.
Right.
So we need better response so we can draw neighborhood helpers and so on and so forth. So the other afternoon, when the CERT group was meeting, it's like, okay, we better fall back and try this again.
It takes a while to engage people.
Yeah. How many years?
This is the 3rd town hall and we're down to 26.
What's the carrot? I don't know. It's like the question we had from Deb. I mean, I think we have known these, we have gone to different areas, and it's true, there are 3 people there. And it's good that we know, but we can't make anybody else go.
That's all right.
Right,
Same thing
Right.
was true with the fire, fire groups, and where to put it. It was open to the community, but it was only bitch.
We had an open house every month and almost every other week when last time it came through, and yeah.
Yeah.
We try to bring people in. All you can do is try.
That's true. That's a very good attitude.
Yes.
I have a quick question for the police chief. Last week, I live over in Shamrock Mines. It's a 40-house development in our HOA. And we had a couple prowlers happen at 1:30 in the morning.
that's what I'm talking about.
The sheriff showed up. So what's the protocol there? Do we not have police available to us 24 hours a day?
Well, available, yes. But we are under contract. We have a contract with the county to assist us, since right now, especially there's only 2 of us. With Merez, he has about a month left. He's on his own, which will fill some of that time as well. The reality is we're only at that point 3 people. And there's a lot of time, right?
Well, how did that go to, obviously, to a call center? And
Yes.
It gets sent out to sheriff who's available during those hours, I guess.
Yeah, so the sheriff's department knows when we're not on. And they try to, when they can, and which is typical for them to be able to have a deputy in the area. Whether it's maybe not in Gearhart, but in the South County area that can respond, if we need them to. Now, if there's a major crime or something they need assistance on, they have our phone numbers. They can wake me up or Sergeant Brown, and we'll respond if we need to. So we're working together hand in hand. So thank you.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I was made aware of that call, and I was wondering if it was in the Highlands area, but thank
It
you
was a
for,
strange deal. They said they were staying in the Highlands, but if they were out for a hike, they got lost.
At
1:30.
At 1:30 in the morning, yeah. Without his shoes too, right? He got degraded on the way out of there.
Lady or a single woman. In the house.
so very suspicious.
Yeah, they got it, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to having Merez on.
Okay.
I have a 2-part question for the police chief. At what hours do you go off duty and we go on into the call station? And are you patrolling through Gearhart, on the Gearhart streets on a regular basis during the day when you're on duty?
Yes, so the answer to the first is, it depends. Somewhere between 5 and 8 o'clock is when we go ahead and check out for the day.
Okay.
And the county covers, and that's a simple call to dispatch, just to let them know to switch over to dispatch to county. I'm sorry, your second question was?
Are you patrolling the streets of Gearhart during the day?
Yes, I get out as much as I can. There's a lot of administrative stuff that needs to be done. I'm playing catch up still, and so trying to move us forward. But today I was out most of the day on the street, made 5 traffic stops, and just out trying to show that there are Gearhart police on the highway, and as well as surface streets.
Awesome. Can you roll up and down B and Nita a couple of times? Because we like seeing you drive by.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the Zoom. And that, I cannot read.
That's Deb again.
Deb?
Sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
That was the same.
Oh,
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
well. Any other questions? Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
I hope you learned something, and if you didn't, come on up here and I'll give you something new.
Who is responsible for putting all these chairs back in?
We try to get the audience to help because